14 members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light have been arrested in Egypt since March 2025 for no reason other than being members of this faith, for no reason other than publicly and in a peaceful way expressing their faith. The Egyptian authorities have placed them under enforced disappearance. Some of them have been subjected to torture, and they have been in prolonged pre-trial detention for all this time. In prison, the conditions have also been very bad, with them speaking about lack of medical care, very bad food condition, and complete denial of medical care. Amnesty International, since the beginning of this case, has issued press releases and has issued urgent actions calling on the Egyptian authorities to release them because they have done nothing wrong, they have committed no crime, and because it is their human right, their right to freedom of religion and belief, to practice, to manifest their faith as any other religious minority, because this is enshrined in human rights conventions and in the Egyptian constitution itself. After the campaign by Amnesty International and the release of the urgent actions, members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light have also launched a campaign in December, where members of the faith have been releasing videos, have been calling on the Egyptian public prosecutor to release the members of the faith and to start immediate investigation into the instances of torture and enforced disappearance. The campaign has been so successful to the point that it even caught attention of the Egyptian actor Amr Waked and the famous Egyptian author Ala al-Aswani. But recently, I'm happy to share with you that the case of the Egyptian members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light have been recently highlighted by the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. The United States Commission on International Religious Freedom issued a special podcast in December 2025, where it highlights the situation of religious liberties in Egypt and how Egyptian authorities have been violating the right to freedom of religion and belief to members of religious minorities, specifically the Ahmadi religion of peace and light.
Egyptian judicial authorities have systematically subjected religious minorities to irregular judicial proceedings on a religious basis. This includes holding detainees in pretrial detention and denying them due process. This year, Egyptian authorities, for example, arbitrarily arrested a group of members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light for publicly expressing their faith. Today, some of those remain in pretrial detention with reports of alleged deprivation of food, lack of access to medical care, and degrading treatment while in prison. Mariam, can you explain the use of these cruel tactics against religious minority detainees? What are the ways that our government, the United States government, might apply pressure on the Egyptian government to improve its treatment of these prisoners, and more generally, improve religious freedom conditions in Egypt overall?
What is interesting in this podcast, which was hosted by U.S. Commissioner Stephen Schneck, that he poses a question. He specifically highlights the case of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. He speaks of the use of pre-trial detention, and he speaks about the horrible conditions in jail, and then speaks about and asks how the U.S. government can pressure the Egyptian authorities to improve the treatment of these detainees, specifically of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, and for religious minorities in Egypt in general. Of course, this is a huge step. This is a huge recognition of the systematic persecution of members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light and religious minorities in general. And it's also a very strong signal that the international community is aware of the case, and the governments are stepping in and are speaking on behalf of the members, urging for their release.